Welcome to the channel. I'm Nina, and today I'm going to tell you about the time I almost got sent back home before even entering the United States. Yeah, you heard that right. I almost got deported because of, well, let me tell you the whole story. It's pretty wild. So today we're talking about how basic English can literally save you in tough situations, what it's like arriving in a new country for the first time, and what happens when your English just completely fails you and your mind goes blank. Trust me, it happens to the best of us. But first, let me give you some context. Before I dive into the story, I should probably introduce myself properly. I'm a journalist, but I'm pretty shy, so I use a pseudonym online. This way I can focus 100% on teaching without all the distractions from the corporate world. Here on this channel, I mix my personal stories with everyday situations to help intermediate and advanced English learners practice their listening and reading skills. So feel free to grab a coffee, do the dishes, or whatever you want while you watch. That's the beauty of it. Now about my English journey, I grew up in a pretty humble family. We didn't have money for English classes, so my only exposure to English was listening to songs on the radio. And let me tell you, I used to sing everything completely wrong because I had no idea what the words actually meant. In school we had English classes, but it was always just the verb to be. Like, over and over again. And I couldn't connect how the verb to be related to actual spoken English in real life, you know? Eventually, before finishing high school, my parents managed to pay for 1 year of English classes. I learned a bit more, but still stayed at the basic level. Then I started working and paid for another year of classes, again, just basic stuff. I kept studying on my own, and by the end of college, I paid for another course. At that point, I was somewhere between basic and intermediate, but I still couldn't really speak. I couldn't hold a conversation. I just knew some grammar and had limited vocabulary. So after I graduated, I decided to save up money and do a study abroad program. I saved for a whole year and chose Atlanta, Georgia. Why Atlanta? Well, it's a big city, but it's not as expensive as New York. The weather is nice. I'm from a tropical country, so I couldn't go somewhere super cold with a totally different climate. Plus, Atlanta has so much history. The Olympics were held there, so there would be plenty of places to visit while studying. It was the perfect combo of useful and enjoyable. Since I was working, I could only take 1 month off for vacation. I couldn't take a 6-month leave to study, so I only had 1 month. But I thought, let's make the most of it. It's better than nothing. It would be a full month of English immersion. I even chose to take intensive classes to maximize my time abroad. Vacation in April, so it was early spring and still a bit chilly. This was my first time flying alone, so I was super nervous. It was an overnight flight, and I'm terrified of flying. I always take my little pills. I took medicine for motion sickness and also some herbal stuff to calm down. I checked my luggage, sat down with my backpack under the seat in front of me, grabbed my water bottle, had a book with me, and that was it. I basically just sat there and only got up when I really needed to use the bathroom, then came right back and buckled my seatbelt again. The flight was pretty smooth. There was a little bit of turbulence, but nothing too crazy. I ate the meals they served on the plane. Luckily, there were flight attendants who spoke my language, so I didn't have trouble choosing my meals. It was all pretty chill. I managed to sleep too. I'd doze off and wake up, but I got as much rest as I could. Next morning, I arrived at the Atlanta airport, and let me tell you, that airport is huge. Like, enormous. But the lady who was going to host me at her house couldn't pick me up at that time, so I had to wait until the afternoon. I'd have to hang out at the airport for a while, but I was prepared for that, so no big deal. But here's the thing, when you arrive in a foreign country, you have to go through customs. And that's when I started getting nervous. I had all my documents ready in my folder, everything organized. I'd done my homework, I had my passport, the address of the house where I'd be staying. Everything was perfect. I got in line and talked to the guard with my super basic spoken English. I told him where I was staying, what I was doing, showing him the address and documents. Honestly, I was showing more papers than actually speaking because I really couldn't speak well. Then there was this moment when I thought the worst part was over, but then a guard wanted me to form a new line and said, "Get in line." And I just stood there staring at him. He said it again, "Get in line." Now he was getting annoyed. I had no idea what to do except stand there nervously. Then a woman who spoke English and was near me told me to form a new line, and I was like, "Oh, got it." Then came the time to grab my luggage. In my head, I was thinking, okay, now it's smooth sailing from here. But nope, not at all. In the baggage claim area, some police officers came in with dogs that sniff luggage for prohibited items. There was this little dog, I think it was a beagle, super cute, and he came right up to me and started sniffing my backpack. I thought, that's it. I'm gonna be taken to a little room, interrogated, and deported without even entering the country. He stayed there for what felt like forever, and I had no idea what was happening. It didn't seem like he wanted to jump on my lap or play or anything like that. Then the female guard who was with him looked at me and said, "Oh, he's probably just trying to play." She let me go and walked away with the dog. I grabbed my backpack and suitcase and walked out of that room with my heart in my throat, thinking about why he'd been sniffing my backpack because I only had basic hygiene items, a change of clothes, and my laptop. Curious, I opened the pocket of my backpack and I couldn't believe it. In the backpack pocket, there was a completely squashed pear that I'd put there to eat as a snack on the plane. The poor pear had been in my backpack for over 12 hours, getting crushed and stepped on, and totally forgotten. In other words, the dog didn't want to play, the dog wanted to eat, and because of that, I could have been taken to a room and interrogated because of a pear that was so squashed I couldn't even eat it anymore. I had to use a napkin to pick it up and throw it in the trash. That's how I arrived in Atlanta, full of emotion and adventure. I hope you guys enjoyed today's story. Let me know in the comments what you thought, or if you've ever been through any kind of mess like mine. Just a little bit of carelessness and the situation could have been way more complicated, so drop a comment if you've been through something similar. And maybe this story reminds you that sometimes it's not your English that fails you. Sometimes it's just a forgotten pear in your backpack. If you enjoyed this break, I'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, everyone. Take care.